Welcome back. I'm your host, Rollins Fontenot. In order to be effective in today's competitive business environment, it is imperative that we are skilled at cultivating the right business relationship. Personal branding and as well as sales strategies are all key factors. And we're going to discuss these topics in today's episode with the help of several business leaders and entrepreneurs. Today, we're joined by Jim Cathcart, founder and president of Cathcart Institute and Motivation TV. In addition to being a successful entrepreneur, he is a best-selling author, motivational expert, entertainer. He's a member of the advisory boards of schools of business at both Pepperdine University and California Lutheran University. Jim, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Jim, someone once said you're what Fonzie would have been had he gone to business school. Why is that?
I guess that's because I ride a motorcycle. I play guitar, rock and roll guitar in nightclubs, and travel around the world as a professional speaker, and I do mountain trail running in my spare time and go to the gym pretty much every day and work out, so I stay in shape, and I'm having a good time with life. You know, it's such a blessing to be able to live like this, and I love the fact that somebody said that. That's cool.
What was the favorite mountain trail you've gone on?
I've trekked around Canada. I think probably climbing Copperstain Mountain in the British Columbia in the Canadian Rockies.
Just curious, do you see any similarities between taking on a mountain trail and taking on the task of growing a business?
Similarities between that and growing a business? Yes. First off, it's always about showing up. Showing up is everything. Now, what does showing up mean on the trail? It means that I'm out there, even if it's raining sideways and lots of wind blowing, even if it's cold and below freezing, even if it's a hot, sweltery day, even if it's inconvenient, even, whatever. So showing up is number one. If you show up, you're going to do something. And if you do something, that's better than doing nothing. So showing up is number one. What does that mean in business? It means showing up for discussions with people that you need to be talking with but maybe have been putting it off. Showing up for the discipline that's needed, for a salesperson, showing up for sales contacts, making the call, even if you feel afraid or reluctant or whatever. Make the call anyway, make the contact, and if nothing else, just introduce yourself, gather some information, and then come back at another time when you've got an appointment. But making the contact. Showing up means getting out the materials that you need to review and putting them in front of your face and at least reading the first sentence. A lot of times we don't want to do something, we procrastinate on it, and the procrastination becomes negligence, and then the negligence becomes a crisis.
Wow, that's a great story, Jim. It shows the importance of showing up, making the call, going to the meeting. That is so true. Jim, you've been a keynote speaker worldwide and coached literally thousands of business leaders in your career. What are some of the common denominators among the successful ones?
I've seen, when you think about common denominators, there are positive common denominators, and then there are not weaknesses, but vulnerabilities as well that are common denominators. No matter how big the success, no matter how substantial the person, no matter how much education they've had or how much career success they have on their chart of accomplishments, they still have the need to be reassured. They still have the need for somebody to admire what they did, whether it's quietly or loudly. They still have the need for that. They need support. They need someone to look at them and give them a kind of a wink and say, "Good job. That's impressive. I saw what you were doing there, and I admire you for doing it." Or saying, "I know that was tough, and I'm glad you stepped up and did it. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being the kind of person that would do that." So all people need that encouragement. And notice when I say the word, I don't say reassurance. I don't say cheerleading and leave it at that. I say encouragement. Encourage, if you think about the word, means to instill courage. So if what you did didn't cause the person to be more confident, more courageous, you didn't encourage them. You could say, oh no, it'll be okay. It's going to be fine. That's not encouragement. That's just like spreading sugar on top of a cake. It's just going to make it look differently. It's not going to increase the nutritional value at all. So encouragement is when you acknowledge something that matters and then connect it to the person in a way that they can take it personally. They can take it as either accomplishment or a compliment or as some kind of a reflection on themselves that they can feel good about.
I've heard you mentioned in a prior training course the term relationship selling. Could you help our viewers get more acquainted with the term relationship selling?
Why connect the word relationship with the word sales? Sales is about transactions. Relationships are about exchanging value. The purpose of business is not to generate profit. That's a function of business. You could say, well, no, that's the purpose of business. Well, if a business has to have employees in order to produce a profit, is retaining employees the purpose of the business? No, it's a function of the business, okay? So the purpose of the business is to make people's lives better profitably. The reason I say profitably is if you don't do it profitably, you can't continue to do it. You have to stop. You'll run out of money or resources. So to make people's lives better profitably is the reason the business exists. Whether it's a nonprofit organization or a for-profit, it exists for providing value to people in a way that is financially sustainable. In a nonprofit, that means a different type of cash flow and support than it does in a for-profit business, but still there's got to be a profit of some sort generated. Now then, what's the purpose of selling? The purpose of selling, people say to me, well, it's to make a sale. No, it's not. Well, it's to make a customer. No, it's not. It's to build profitable business friendships, not social friendships. Social friendships have different rules. To build profitable business friendships.
Those are gems. We appreciate them. In fact, one phrase that gets used a lot in selling is that it is who you know in business that counts. Can you help walk us through that?
It's not what you know that counts. It's not who you know that counts. What really counts is who is glad that they know you. You see, until you make them glad that they know you, you haven't really cultivated a strong relationship yet. But once people say, man, am I glad I know Rollis. Boy, if I didn't know Rollis, I would have missed out on so many opportunities. It would have been so much harder to get the job done. This would have happened, that would have happened, this wouldn't have happened, that wouldn't have happened. I'm glad I know Rollis. Man, when you are at that level with people, then those people consider you to be an asset. And people protect assets.
As an attendee at one of your events, I can say from personal experience that you live what you say. You didn't know me from Adam, but you took the time to show personal interest in me and treat me kindly.
Thank you very much, very much. I do remember that.
Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate having you on the show. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have a special guest to help us learn how to successfully brand ourselves as we grow our business. Stay tuned.